Good morning and thank you very much for joining us. I am Iyori Folarin, continuing the budget padding saga budget padding allegation saga in the National Assembly. And the protagonists, so to speak, we're looking at Abdul Mumin Jibrin. He has met with the party now. That is to say, APC has waded into it. And one thing that became clearly noticeable was that when he emerged from that meeting yesterday around 5 o'clock, contrary to what people might have thought from before, he was sort of a bit mellow. He didn't want to speak, but there's been no shortage of statements from him in very, very recent past. This particular committee of APC, it also met with Speaker Dogara. So there clearly are moves going on, and one looks at this against the backdrop of the president having earlier given the DSS, the go-ahead to do whatever they felt they needed to do by way of investigation. So where is all of this leading? Is this a matter that can be resolved family matter-wise, as we have heard before in the polity? Not in this particular instance. I guess that's what we'll be looking at. And Mr. Onyekachi Ubani is my guest this morning, former MBA chair, Ikeja branch. Thank you very much for coming on, Onyekachi. You'll probably be joined by, a learned brother of yours. Yes, that's how you guys say it. My learned colleague, my learned brother.
Friend.
Oh, friend, brother, no party for Jungle.
When you become a judge, then your fellow judge becomes a brother.
You are. So what do you think, Onyekachi? What do you think is, because yesterday and before, looking at this whole subject, people have been saying, people calling in someone, okay, this is a matter that we must take to a logical conclusion and it must be transparent. Give me your impression. What do you think?
I totally agree with those who say that this matter must be taken to logical conclusion, whether you are a member of the PDP or you're a member of APC. That this common desire by Nigerians at this juncture to really cleanse this country. And if over the years our national budget has actually ended up in the private pockets of people, it's been a trend. And for God's glory this time around, things are being revealed. We didn't know that people were even putting budget money that has to do with personal things. I had thought that when they're using constituency, project stuff, they usually, arrange and put it in their, but now, to deal with your farm, probably to use it to go and build your personal house, we didn't know that was going on. Because that is a revelation coming out. So,
although Dogara has said that this is a spurious
allegation. That's the reason why the security agencies must investigate this. And of course, in a country where institutions are very strong, you don't even expect the president to give a nod. The institutions will just swing into action, especially when such a grievous allegation has been made against a public officer. The way it happened in America recently, where Mrs. Clinton, even though a presidential candidate, was also investigated for the email scandal. There was no presidential order.
And
ordinarily,
yes. And that particular matter has been coming on from ages.
Exactly. So what we're saying is that institutions must be very strong to carry out their function in any civilized polity. When allegation that as grievous as that came up, you don't need to wait for presidential nod. What you do is that, allegation has been made. Let's find out the fact. Is it truth or is it a lie? I'm happy that police have stepped into the entire matter. And what we're saying now is that the political party should not come in order to interfere. It's not a family matter anymore. Okay. It has gone beyond family issue now. It's now a national issue.
Well, that's on the one hand, that the political party shouldn't come into this whole matter. Yes. And in this case, the political party of the guys happens to be APC.
Yes.
Can you think of a reason why a political party might want to come in?
Yes. Well, the issue of reducing the collateral damage, because, it's clearly a shame. It's something that is very scandalous for members of the same political party that, mounted change, and then we are clearly against corruption. And clearly they are also fighting corruption. The present government is clearly, the body language is against corruption, and then your members are involved in corrupt practices. Of course, it will inflict what we call collateral damage to that political party. So maybe they want to now try as much as possible to vitiate or reduce or mitigate, you know, the gravity of the infliction of damage, you know, to the political party. That's why they are now bringing them together. Maybe that's why Jibrin, when he came out from that meeting last night, was no longer, you know, in a talking mood. He became taciturn, you know. But that would,
they might have been gagged by the
yeah,
party.
so please, for now, don't inflict more collateral damage. Damage has been done, but reduce the level of damage. I'm sure he must have been spoken to. Yes.
You know, the problem with what you say, and I identify with what you're saying. The problem with what you're saying is that damage to who? If it's about the country, it's about Nigeria, it's about this whole effort.
That's right.
So the collateral damage that you're talking about certainly doesn't reach the public space. In fact, the public space is going to be healthier, and this is probably the sort of
for the sake of the country, is a way to go. You know that our language, our body should be anti, and anything that has to do with corruption, let's be anti it.
Yeah.
Are you following me? So it will really cleanse the system. But for a political party that came with mantra of change, with a political party that is actually fighting corruption presently, so why would your members be involved in corruption? So does it mean that it's only the president, which what people have been saying? Oh, there is only one man in APC that is clearly against corruption, that all other members are not interested in that fight. So, and they're entrenched in it.
The only thing is, though, that the way you are sounding, and it is the general impression,
that's right,
is that it's not an allegation that can be brushed aside, even though the people at the receiving end of the allegation have said that. Would you believe it? I mean, how can, is this a comedy or what?
Yes.
It is not so. It cannot be so. The guy is a spoiler, Jibrin. He's a spoiler, so they say, and he's just hurting because he was removed from the. So why are you guys taking all of this seriously? There's no basis for all of this.
No,
of course.
My take is no problem. If the man has made allegation that he considered very spurious, no problem. Let the agencies come in and prove and then investigate.
There's nothing to it.
Exactly. You know, they will come out with their
even though it's going to cost us money
it doesn't matter.
It's money well spent.
Beautiful for the sake of the society.
I see.
For the sake of the fabric of the society, the morality. Now, if a high public officer, number 4, he's been alleged to have padded the budget, and then with amount that is not 1 million, not 2 million, but in the billions.
Yeah.
So it's worthy of investigation. We are interested. Nigerians are interested.
Indeed.
And that's why everywhere the people are clamoring. Let there be a proper investigation on this allegation, because it will go a long way in cleansing our budget process. Okay. Because it has been like this over the years. You ask yourself, do legislators have right to actually, impute figures into a national budget prepared by the executive? Is it their right? Going by the provisions of the Constitution that says the president does this and lay before they are destined to appropriate. In appropriation, do you add, or do you now add your own figures different from what the executive has added? Or are you supposed to pass the process through the executive? Oh, my constituency is not developed. They need this road. They need this particular bridge. Executive, insert it in your budget before presenting. Is it the proper thing, or are you the one now to insert that particular item? So this particular whole brouhaha will now clear the process. Let's get to the level where we do our budgeting process right. All right.
You know what, Onyekachi, thank you very much for that opening salvo. We'll take a quick break, very, very short one, to bring on your colleague, GT Ogunye, who is now standing by to weigh in on this conversation. Okay, welcome back, and we've since been joined by Mr. GT Ogunye. He's a lawyer and a public affairs analyst. Thank you very much for coming on, GT.
Just a lawyer.
Okay, so anytime you analyze any public matter, I will remind you that GT, but you see, this one is beyond law. But thanks for coming.
Yes, thanks.
The imbroglio in the leadership of the House of Representatives is what we're looking at, and I wonder what your take is on the party of both the the Speaker and the former chairman of the Appropriation Committee has invited them apparently to try and resolve the differences between them over the allegation of budget padding. Give me your take on that particular direction.
I think that invitation is not in the right direction. I first saw it in the news that the party had invited Jibrin to face a disciplinary panel. That was the first thing that we saw.
That was the first.
And later, now we're hearing about bringing the two parties together, or the two sides together.
Well, actually, they met one after another, not at the same time.
Not at the same time. The party has a right to bring its warring members to a round table and then try to broker a kind of negotiation and settlement. But my take is that the criminal allegations that have been made by both sides are not matters for party resolution. These are criminal allegations, and that's why when the scandal broke, we gave our advice to the leadership of the House of Representatives, as lawyers say, that suo motu, even without being asked, given the gravity of the allegations, and being a lawyer, that he should invite the anti-corruption agencies to wade into those allegations, because the House cannot investigate itself regarding those allegations. And I've made the point that under Section 88 and 89, usually the House, as a body and through its committees, conduct public hearings, public investigations to expose corruptions, etc., etc. But now, those who are constitutionally empowered to expose corruptions are being accused of corrupt practices. Therefore, what was appropriate at that time and even now is for the anti-corruption agencies to come, so that even without any petition, the leadership of the House ought to have invited. So, having said that, I don't see what the APC wants to resolve, and let nobody have the illusion that we are dealing with something new. It's not new. Let the truth be told. It's not new. That doesn't mean that
we're not even
it should continue.
Yes, we're not even
it's
sure.
Not new.
We're not even sure, as lawyers will probably want us to consider, that it is even true yet.
Both parties have not said it's not true. And, you know, I've had a lot.
Well,
even from
the Speaker has said
even
that
from the members,
all the allegations were spurious.
Even from the members, I've had a lot. When they do these things, when budget come proposals, and there are estimates that are made by the executives as per spendings and the heads, what these guys do is to yank off certain heads and bury them under new heads for their constituency projects. Yeah. And when those money come, and I challenge any one of them to the contrary, when those money come, I'm relying on first-hand information by the members of the House. A chunk is taken by the office of the Speaker, another chunk is taken by the office of the Senate President. A huge chunk of money, which they then dispense to their loyalists, and so on and so forth. So that's what we're dealing with. And if they say it's not true, the anti-corruption agencies are there to investigate. It's not just the ipsi dixit, the oral declarations or pontifications of the dramatis personae that will live by. Now, a party who is a bad guy in the National Assembly is saying, I'm reporting. He's the one going around all the anti-corruption agencies to report. And the other side is saying, no, don't do that. So, a clean conscience fears no accusation. If you knew that there was nothing remiss, you willingly and voluntarily subject yourself to investigation and have it wrapped up quickly so that you put it behind you. And then, having been given a clean bill of health, you then come back to the House to use the instrumentality of the House to deal with this quote-unquote blackmailing member, this errant member, and put him where he belongs. But that's not what we are seeing. What we are seeing is that a party is eager to expose. The other party is saying, no, don't take that route. It's our internal affair. There's nothing wrong with it. And the party is weighing in. So that's what I find unacceptable
in the whole process. Onyekachi, what do you think of a fellow lawyer, Femi Falana, SAN, saying that the DSS really doesn't have any right to wade into the matter and investigate. And I think this is following, after he had heard that the president had given his nod to the DSS wanting to investigate.
The point is that these security agencies are creations of law. And the law that creates those agencies also define their functions. And it's important they stick to the function as prescribed by law, because if an agency that is supposed to investigate economic crime now delves into issue of internal security, that is clearly beyond the powers granted by the provisions of the law. And somebody can use it technically, in the court proceeding to actually knock out the entire process. So that's why we must be careful at this point whose function actually, which of the security agencies, are properly, empowered by law to investigate this allegation.
Well, by law on one hand, because if it's and also maybe capabilities on another. I wonder if there are special capabilities that some people seem to be thinking are resident with the DSS and...
There is not issue of capabilities. Of course, what is their function? The law defines your function. If yours is internal security or security of state, then you are delving into economic crime allegation. Then you are clearly, acting outside the powers, given to you by the law. And as I said earlier, the issue of court proceeding, who are you even empowered to prosecute? And if you get to prosecution, what may be the defense of the accused or the defense? And they will use it, technically to get themselves off the hook. So it's important we don't boggle. What he's trying to say that don't in any way mess up this entire process. Because if a wrong party now is the one investigating, at the end, these guys, technically get themselves off the hook. We will be blaming ourselves. Of course, they say you can't try somebody criminally second time. He has been tried before, and and technically has been either the matter is struck out and all that. You can't, come up again. So it looks like as if it's going to be persecution. So he says, let the proper agency that is empowered by the law to do this. If it's economic crime that is being alleged, we have agencies that are either the police or the EFCC and not DSS at this juncture. Well, so that we don't mess up this entire process. That is what he's trying to sound that note of warning. And I think I go along with him.
And be that as it may, I think I was reading that APC in Ekiti State has risen and saying that, sorry, we're not on the same page with the respected lawyer Falano GT on this whole matter.
On what page?
The page of the DSS has no right and shouldn't even go near this whole case.
We enjoy the liberty of free speech, but before people speak, they should weigh the implications, even the content and the rationale of what they say. So what's the APC saying? Is it because Mr. Femi Falana, SAN, is from Ekiti State, so he says something, the APC in that state then responds, and then to undercut him or to belittle his contribution? Well, what's that all about? It's errant. It's not even worthy of responding to what because the SSS has no responsibility whatsoever to dabble into what we're talking about, save the possibility of saying that the money that is being warehoused, or the money that is being allegedly taken is being taken to, say, for example, stage a coup. That's not what anybody is saying here.
No.
We're just talking about allegations of crimes. So what's the business of the DSS or the SSS that has now styled itself the DSS, which is another thing? The law does not talk about the Directorate of State Security Service. Somebody somewhere just decided to give the SSS an alias. And so everybody is now complicit. We call them the SSS. That is not what the law says. It's like Nigerian Police Force now calling itself Nigerian Police or Federal Bureau of Investigation. That's not what the law says, and that's the part. That's part of what we've been complaining about. But assuming you even think that to be pedantic, that's not the substance. That's just a form. They can call themselves anything. The question is, what is the business of the DSS in wading into this, sealing off
the offices?
What for? The police is there. The FCC is there. The ICPC is there. So what will the DSS do What are they going to be investigating?
And why therefore, would the president have given his nod, as has been reported, to the DSS to
You know,
continue?
that's as has been reported. People exercise powers and they rope in a president of a country. That's what happens everywhere. And you see a president of a country coming out to join issues with that, but it happens everywhere. But I think moving forward, a president of a country will have to say, don't do that. You ought not to dabble into this.
Okay.
I'm
Functions are separated.
separated.
I beg your pardon.
And
Because
so allow the institutions to work.
the ICPC, EFCC, police, all of these people are more than adequate.
And they are adequate.
Everything else being considered. Sorry very much for Yinka in Ikorodu for holding you on all this while. Please go ahead now.
How are you able to speak this morning?
Good morning, Yinka. Good morning.
Good morning, the two baristas, Mr. Bani and Mr. Ajiti.
Yes, good
Morning,
morning.
my brother.
Thank you.
You're welcome this morning.
Yeah, good morning.
This budget padding is a thing. When I was watching the television yesterday night, I saw the APC leaders, I think maybe from the North Zone, calling the two parties. I think from what you said this morning is beyond party level. This is a criminal allegation in which I feel it is litmus test for the president to now prove to Nigerians that all this while that has been fighting corruption and people have been accusing me of fighting the opposition. I think this is the right time to prove to Nigerians that this is not a matter of opposition, this is a matter of fighting corruption to the letter. Meanwhile, before the coming up of APC at the central level, we all knew that APC and PDP, there's no difference. The only person people are looking up for is the president. Now it is so clearly that it is only the president that is interested in fighting corruption. If you see this budget pattern of the faith, that is why we are saying that we should not vote for any governor in the state to spend 8 years. Or perhaps if he spends 8 years, they should not allow that party to come back again and rule for another 8 years. Another opposition party should come. Maybe we will be seeing different policies that will be different to all these party of the affairs. Because all this party of the thing they are talking about is even happening in the state, but nobody is hearing it. It is because this one, because there's a problem between the April or whatever now. That's why we are hearing it from the national level. And thank God for the emergence of President Buhari. It is happening in various states. But because it's the godfathers that are controlling the House of Assembly in various states, that's why we are not seeing all these things happening. That's why we are not hearing it. So my thought this morning is that by now ICPC or EFCC should have waded into this matter and take the person involved to the court of law and prosecute them. That is my saying this morning. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for calling in. People are just watching this very, very carefully. APC Deputy National Chairman Lawal Shuaibu, who told of this meeting that was held, he said there's a need to, these people are APC members, there's a need to bring them together and let's sort of see what we can do to resolving issues. That to one side, but also the very urgent call that we're hearing from everybody, now this is really a test case. It so happens that if you're going to do the right thing, it might hurt a bit. It's easier when it's outside, but now that it's inside, we're watching. Do you think this also puts pressure on APC as a party?
No, I don't think so. What's the pressure? Because we've had what I call a fluidity in political party evolution and membership in this country. In the morning, you are a member of Party A. In the afternoon, you are in Party B. In the evening, you are in Party C.
That's a problem.
And so we've had this. So it is not about APC as a party. In fact, it is not in the best interest of that party to condone this kind of thing.
Indeed.
The party is not a substitute for a criminal justice process. And so a party should be able to know its boundary and say, oh, whether we like it or not, criminal allegations are now being made. If before this matter blew over, we had apprehended this matter when it was yet to assume the characteristics of, or rather the character of criminal allegation. If they had waded in and said, we want to settle political differences between a speaker and the head of the appropriation committee, they were quarreling and all that, and we didn't have these allegations and counter allegations, then you may say that, okay, they could have moved by that time. But now, it is different now.
Okay. Mr. Odedeyi, thank you for holding on in Ikeja. Go ahead, please.
Good morning to the guests in the house.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Good morning.
I want the APC to stay clear of this matter. This is not a party matter. This is not a matter of a political solution. Political solution in this case is tantamount to corruption. We all want corruption to be brought to its knees in this country, because it is corruption that has brought Nigeria to its knees. So whenever we have any opportunity to tackle corruption in high place, we should embrace it with both hands. So Dogara and the other principal officers of the house, they should go and face the law court. Even we know that the law court will eventually set them free, because the judiciary and the corruption against, they are like Siamese twins. But we let them face the law court, so that it will be on record that Nigeria is already tending towards change.
Okay.
Nigeria can no longer afford this corruption of the past. So I want to use this avenue to kindly appeal to the national leadership of the APC to allow this thing to take its due course. Let the EFCC take this matter to court, so that we can see the end of it, as budget padding in Nigeria can become history. Good morning.
Thank you very much, Mr. Odedeyi, for calling in.
case,
Sorry, let me just go to, because...
Contrary to GT's assertion that APC is not under pressure, I hold a strong view that they're clearly under pressure now.
that they shouldn't be under pressure.
No, they're under pressure. They're under pressure because, see, you came with a mantra, the mantra of change. And one of the promises you made to Nigerians while you were campaigning is that you will fight corruption to a standstill. And that has still remained, the stance of this particular government. And your members now involved in corruption in the National Assembly.
Well, and an allegation of corruption.
I agree. So you're under pressure. You'll be under pressure, even if it's an allegation. You clearly be under pressure because you know the mantra under which we came. You say you will fight corruption. How come your members now are alleged to be involved in corruption? So you'll be under pressure. Secondly, there is this allegation by the opposition that if there is any fight against corruption, it has been against the political parties that are in opposition. That you spare your members and all that, and now your members are involved. So you are clearly in a dilemma. Will the law process be allowed to go full swing against our members? So that's why, if they had known, as you rightly pointed out anyway, that this thing would snowball into this allegation of crime, they would have settled the matter immediately. The man was removed and they were bid to make allegation. But now that the entire thing has the woman has delivered in a marketplace, you don't ask her to close leg anymore because the beans have been spilled. So they are clearly under pressure. The collateral damage is what they're trying to mitigate now by holding this meeting, but it's late. It's late.
Let's hear it from Richard calling in from Ogudu. Good morning.
Okay.
Good morning, sir.
Yes. Hello.
We can hear you.
Yes, I said I totally do not agree with this school of thought that the political party should wade into this matter. Where we have gotten to, as Jite has rightly pointed out, that in the morning they are in PDP, in the afternoon they are in APC, in the evening they are in AP. It will be better for us to stand aloof from this group of people and allow the law and the right bodies saddled with the responsibility of investigating such criminal acts to do their job, either exonerate, but if found guilty, they should be prosecuted. If we don't stop this, in those days, PDP used to call it family affair.
Today now, APC is coming with a party affair. Maybe their own will be a party affair, so that this matter will just go the way every other matter has been going. Which, if we continue like this, like everybody keeps emphasizing that it's only Buhari that stands to fight corruption. Every other person is not truthful about this corrupt tendency in our political cycle. They are not being honest. They should leave this matter to trash itself so that we can know where we know the next level. Because if you listen to Jibril very well, Jibril said this is just one out of the many things he had to bring out to the limelight. Go and watch all the interview of Jibril. You see that this is just a tip of the iceberg. Of all the 96 committees, he said he can point out one or two things that they are all doing to twist Nigeria. Even in the leadership of the National Assembly, he said the leadership of the National Assembly also is indicted that it is criminally inclined. So where do we start this from? If starting from this small level of the speaker, they are beginning to slow them down, then it shows that they will not go to the bigger picture, which is the leadership of the National Assembly that he has indicted in his speech. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for calling in. You know what this is showing, gentlemen? Well, it sort of gives me the indication that, look at Honorable Jibrin. There was no trouble. There was nothing, no problems, until he was removed from his position as chairman of the Appropriation Committee, and he didn't like it, and has now decided, fine, now you've done yours, now I'm going to do mine. What if there had been no cause for disagreement? None of this would have come out, and we would have been under the impression that everybody was on board for the anti-corruption posture of this, because they have said in the National Assembly severally and on different occasions that we were on all fours with the executive and all of that. So, and if, as the last caller has just pointed out, Honorable Jibrin has said that there's plenty more where this came from, but let's not just muddy the waters. Let's deal with this. And at the when he by the way, as you also know, an special investigation panel has been set up by the police, by the Inspector General of Police. Right. Jibrin is reported to have made statements along this line, and also handed over voluminous documents by way of, I can back up evidence. What I'm saying. Yeah, I can back up what I'm saying. The point I wanted to get to be aired a bit is, if Jibrin had not been offended, none of this would have been known. What does this say about the fight about corruption?
You know, let me just say this quickly. People had always known that this sleaze is going on in the National Assembly. That's the point I was making earlier. It's just that before now, we've not seen somebody who is vantaged enough by virtue of the position that he holds in the National Assembly, who is dissatisfied or disgruntled and is therefore prepared to come out and spill the beans.
Yes.
So in other words, I have not seen a whistleblower, quote unquote, in the National Assembly that is ready to spill the beans. Now we have one. And so it's giving credence and validation to what we've always known. Nobody thinks that when the members of the National Assembly talked about fighting corruption, nobody takes them seriously. Look,
okay,
you want to fight corruption, and editorialists have written volumes saying the kind of salary you are taking, you shouldn't take it any longer, and nobody amongst them is willing to say what we are doing is wrong. So you want to fight corruption, and then you roll out 105 or 109 Jeeps SUV, and editorialists, newspaper opinions, molders, everybody say what you are doing is wrong, and all of them share the Jeeps. Nobody had anything. So when they say that they are fighting corruption, Nigerians are not deceived.
Okay.
But the point I'm making is that when he was talking about the APC under pressure, and being under pressure, and I said, no, what pressure was APC under when the Senate president is facing, who is a member of their party, is facing 2 criminal charges? So what difference will it make if a speaker were to face similar charges?
Okay.
So what's the pressure here?
Okay. Ekanem in Yaoundé, Cameroon, good morning. Thank you for holding on.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. I'm so interested with what
We're glad to have you.
we do here. We are just what is going on, and I want to look at how take it on. If we are sure how we are and things like this are happening among those whom we let those who call themselves elected members of the House, look, we should face good of law. Thank God that we have somebody like Buhari with a very high esteem to allow him to do his job. Let the EFCC wait into this
I'm sorry, Mr. Kanem. The line is absolutely no good. We can't hear you. We can hear you, but it's not intelligible because what is going on is that your sound is dropping every other second, therefore giving us something of an audio puzzle to try and figure out what you're saying. We're so sorry about that. But I did hear, I think in 1 second, something about maybe letting Buhari do his job, or maybe it was somebody, but you did make the statement, I think, inter alia about let people do their jobs.
I think the deliverance of this nation will start with the issue of intra-class war. You know, when armed robbers, go and rob, and then they come to share the loot. And most times it's a sharing formula. Sharing formula that usually, lead to sometimes discovery that, crime has been committed. When they want to share and somebody say, you have cheated me. So what we deliver this country is actually not even but intra-class war. And I'm so happy, with Jubril. And I'm also sounding it here.
You're happy with Jubril?
Yes, I'm so happy with it. That God, they should protect. I'm coming, sir. I'm not saying
they should continue. They should quarrel more.
They should quarrel. You see, the more they quarrel, it should be a prayer point.
Because he was from what he is saying.
It should be a prayer point.
Part of it.
He say he has more information. We have not even gone to the Senate. The one in Senate is monumental, is unprecedented by the time they begin to open up. So that's why Jubril should be protected, I'm just telling you this because, he say he has only given a tip.
Yes.
That if he opens his mouth, so Nigerians will know how over the years, we've been budgeting trillions and trillions of naira. You don't see any evidence of development anywhere.
Yeah.
In any of the key sectors. Is it educational sector? Is it issue of road? So Jubril should be kept alive. And we should pray more, both in mosque and in churches, that God should cause more trouble in the sharing formula so that we begin to know. And that is the only way to cleanse this country. That's the only way to cleanse Nigeria.
Okay, let me bring in Hannah. Hannah is calling in from Ikorodu. Good morning, ma'am.
Hello, good morning.
Okay, thank you for calling in. Go ahead, please. Hannah,
There's been corruption all the way. There's been corruption all the way in this country. And my prayer, just like the last speaker said, is that God will continue to disgrace all corrupt officers in this country. We should protect Jubril because he is the Snowden of our time. The Snowden of our time, because he's bold enough. Not that he really has the interest of Nigeria at heart, but because he's a disgruntled politician. So we need more of him to come out and tell the story, because the youth in this country are suffering because of this political class. APC, PDP, they are all fraud. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Hannah. Jibrin himself, he's part of it. But he's saying that no problem, I'm sacrificing myself. Beautiful. But I want you to know that I think that's the statement that people need.
He said we are corrupt. He says so. He said we are corrupt.
So and he called it institutional corruption. So that's a weighty allegation that is endemic and that is ingrained in the National Assembly. And by the way, for a long time now, it's been a tit for tat between former President Olusegun Obasanjo and the National Assembly. So it's like a Bole Kaja thing. You abuse me, I abuse you back. Yeah, you say that you are corrupt. You say that, yes, but you try to bribe us the other time. And so on. And so we're not talking about Jibrin as a saint here. We're talking about a person who providentially has now offered himself as a witness to the ugliness that we've seen in the National Assembly. And so I must commend my colleague here for saying that please give him protection. It's like a witness protection for him, so that we can learn more. The Nigerian people deserve to know, even if this matter has been a matter of conjecture. And estimation. Now that we've seen somebody coming forward to say that this is how we've been doing it, and this is where the money has been going, I think that we should encourage that process.
And is this markedly different from Lawan Farouk, because we haven't heard any more. We haven't heard any more about that case.
That's why APC should not stop this moving train.
This is more than,
they should not at all.
This is more than 10,000 applications under the Freedom of Information Act could have achieved.
Exactly.
Okay. I must bring in, who do I have on the line? Mazi Okoroafo in Abia State. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, our guest. My name is Comrade Mazi Okoroafo, Patriot Crop, Arotikusia Oblo here in Abia State. Now,
good morning.
Today we are talking about party. Last month we were talking about Saraki and we were talking about Saraki and CCD. Now, next month, who next should it be? What next? Now, what I'm looking at Nigeria is that we as Nigerians, we don't know exactly what we want. I'm a Nigerian, born in this country, bred up in this country, and cool in this country. Now, there is no part of Nigeria you tell me, I will not tell you one story about it. But we show you that. What are we going to do in Nigeria so that we move forward? That is what we Nigerians should be talking about. Because every day when you open radio, television, newspaper, everything, now one story from National Assembly or State House or Governor. But the issue is that hunger is killing Nigerians. Illiteracy is killing us. Sickness is everywhere. And people are complaining. And even the Nigerians who are complaining, they are not even working to everything, to do anything. You see that, you go to the hotel, come, let's pray for you. At the end of the day, the prayer turns out to another issue. Now, the question now for we to move forward in this country. Let us go back to the basics. That type of history or that type of behavior, our forefathers were using in that 70s and 80s and 90s. If Nigeria can abide with that spirit, I bet we will move forward. If we continue sitting down today and looking at what's happening, because I have discovered that everybody that goes into any office, whether the local government is just going to look for money. Not for the interest of the masses. And the people continue going to vote these people. You collect money from them and eat, and go there and turn the vote back to them. You come back tomorrow and start complaining. Why must it be so? I don't know what's wrong with our people. So we have to take one. Otherwise, we are just transformed. Thank you very much. Have a blessed day in Lagos.
Indeed. Thank you, Comrade Mazi Okoroafo. There are, I think the 3 more names, but I can't remember. Comrade and Mazi Okoroafo is enough. The institutional aspect of the allegation is what is probably causing most people most concern. And that he has said that if you think you've heard anything now, this is just the tip of the iceberg. And to now, as you said, it's almost like the man is something of a witness that requires protection, because he is saying, in the one that I am directly in charge of, I'm going to give you the evidence about all these things I'm saying. Yeah. But I can also say something that I can also say things that cannot be controverted by my fellow members. And that's the institutional aspect of it. It does give a totally different perspective, doesn't it, to the whole war against corruption, as has been pointed out. People are running after all those things that have been grabbing the headlines, but if there's this agreement, this constitutional system that guarantees lucre, never mind filthy,
yes,
there's a problem. We have a big problem on our hands.
What he's trying to say is that the best way to steal money in Nigeria is to appropriate the money.
Well, yeah.
You pass it by way of budget.
Now we've entered into the realm of, you know, what is this? Implications.
Yeah, exactly.
Implications.
So what they do is that they pass these budgets. And if you go, it's an act of National Assembly passing budget. But the monies are not being used to, you know, put them where they are budgeted for. So what happens that they now begin to remove this money into private pocket. And you ask the question, why are you doing this? It is legitimate. After it was appropriated. After there was a budget, there was a process. So the easiest way to even steal money in this country now, by the executive, both at the local government level, is to appropriate it to pass through legitimate process.
Almost like
Yes.
like money laundering.
So like money. So what the man is saying that is institutionalized. Okay, even with the police, even with the EFCC, even with this, and they pass this budget, and you find out that, oh, this money is supposed to be used to build this structure, maybe housing for police officers, but you don't see the money there. They come, they stay outside, they don't have any house. Meanwhile, there was a budget that was passed for the housing. So it's an institutional thing. You go to even the banking sector. This issue of a dollar you are talking about now, dollar is supposed to be given to manufacturers for priority, but the bankers will use it and begin to go to and give it to somebody that doesn't need it, make more money. Are you following me?
Okay.
So that's what he said. I've institutionalized corruption all over, in all sectors, in the banking sector, in the National Assembly, in the executive. That's what he's saying. We need to open up this country.
Maybe that's why forensic DSS and SSS people, even though I know the obligation,
it's not their work.
Let them
not get involved.
That was why I was wondering whether they have any skills. In any case, I know you want to add to this, GT, but Wale is also waiting for us in Kaduna. Let me take Wale and then I'll come straight to you. Good morning, Wale in Kaduna.
Good morning, Uncle Yori. We miss you.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, welcome back, sir.
Thank you very much.
This Dogara issue, the APC should not put on. I voted for Buhari because of his integrity. If Buhari by virtue allow these people to go, I will not go to this country again. I supported APC because of the principle of Bola Ahmed Tinubu. If these people allow this thing to continue, they will regret it in 2019. We will forget APC and PDP. Let me tell you, this party thing they are doing, I have a friend, I'm 50 now, by the grace of God this year, who is working as a contractor. I don't want to mention the town. It's the last dispensation between 2011 and 2015. They came for oversight function, and my friend was afraid that they are going to check the building they are doing. Do you know what he did? A friend phoned him from Abuja said he should prepare money down for them.
That's what
do you know that they have not reached any percentage? The project there now is still that place, Abado. They just came with that, they have long boss. Very useless people, all these National Assembly people. Since then, I don't have any respect for them. They came and collected money and entered the boss. They did not even reach the site. I'm saying that I'm a child of God, I'm saying this thing. Please, they believe the brief and protect him like the other speaker was saying. Let him look, God will bring confusion into their midst by the grace of God. If Buhari allowed this Saraki and Dogara to go away with this, if the reputation Buhari has built for the past 70-something years on earth is finished.
All right then. Sorry, Wale. Thank you very, very much for calling in. Please, GT.
No, just a number
because
of issues.
We've run out of time,
just a number of issues. One, I'm not willing to be co-opted into looking at the larger political ramifications of these things. So if Dogara goes, somebody else is likely going to be the beneficiary. So power will shift from a particular place or region or zone. I don't care about all those things. What I care about is that if we have 50 members, 100 members, 200 members of the House involved, let justice be served. That's in adherence to the principle of equality of all before the law. The idea that when big men, commit infractions, there will be rationalizations and excuses to make them escape. Whilst an ordinary man, who committed a lesser offense would then be dealt with, by the harshness of the law. I can't accept that idea. And so what we expect the APC as a party to do is that steer clear. Let justice be served. If your members are found guilty and they are sent to jail, then look for other members. The provision of recall is there. The provisions of by-election is there. So you can fill those positions, But to then say that we can micromanage these things, we can settle in-house. We are the one presiding over the institutions anyway. So the police, the EFCC, the FSS, all of them are under the executive. So once we appeal to the president, the matter will be, resolved. That's not the way to go. And Nigerians are taking note of what is going on.
As has been indicated by so many people, so many of our callers. We completely run out of about
very good. Yes, if we take note and we do not act, the political class will make a mess. They've been doing it over the years, you know. We have these allegations of crime, and at the end they sweep it under the carpet and nothing happens. But I think it's time, you know, the consciousness now is getting higher for us to rise and say, no, for over this Dogara matter, now Nigerians insist to a logical conclusion. Let us know whether he's guilty or he's not guilty. If he's not guilty, if he continues his responsibility. But if he's guilty, then he should step down. But I think that it is the willpower. Look at what happened. Was it Malaysia recently? Which country that they stopped a coup? They stopped a coup.
Oh, Turkey.
Turkey. The people rose. And if the people did not, you know, come up like that, the country would have succeeded. I mean, would have been too much. So what I'm saying is that power lies in the hands of the people, sir. All right, the majority of power lies in our hand. We can make Dogara to go if he's guilty, or Dogara can stay if we are complicit.
Thank you. Let's leave it there. We got to leave it there. But thank you very much, gentlemen, Mr. Ejiti Ogunye and Mr. Onyekachi Ubani. I'll join you tomorrow for a fresh edition, God willing. I'm Iyori Folari. Bye-bye for now.